FXN Trading Group, welcome back, guys, to another video, and we're going to be doing a quick overview of the pound AUD, pound Aussie dollar, from last week, and we're going to take a look and see what setups we were able to catch on that pair. All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so starting off the week, this is the start of the week here, and you can clearly see right after Asian session, we had a very nice W formation type 1 setup here, and this would have been this was about 85 pips or so, almost getting to Mayo. So good, very good trade. This literally took 45 minutes of your time once you got in it. And this was essentially during the US Open right here. Okay. So it doesn't always happen during London, as you can see. It basically took all the entire London session to develop, and then it broke out during the US session. So type 1 setup here, and let's go to the next one here. So next day, we have Asian session here, and basically we get a W pattern type 2 formation here, and we're trading out of the edge, out of the Asian range here. But look at that trade that we end up getting here. Almost 200 pips, I would say 200 pips, depending on how far up you went. But pretty much that was the trade of the week. 200 pips on one move, and basically you're looking at from 2:30 a.m. Eastern time all the way to noon, essentially the next day. So that was an awesome trade. Again, W type 2 setup here. We tagged basically the Asian low. We created the W here, so you'll see the W here, and then boom, it broke out. So about 200 pip move on that day. That would have that was an awesome trade there. Let's go on to the next day. The next day we had another W pattern formation, and this is pretty interesting. We got because we actually traded it back and forth on this. So this is a type 1 setup. Type 1 meaning, of course, we're below or above the Asian high. So in this case, we're below. And as you can see, we made a nice little W formation here. Same thing as we did at the beginning of the week. We did it during the open of the U.S. session. So right at 9:15, we see we got railroad tracks here. Now, here's the first trade, which was about 114 pips. And so the cool part is the second trade, if you were following this, would have been something like this. And right back down, right? So that second trade would have been another 150 pips. Okay. So very, very good trading for that day on pound AUD, just that one pair alone. So we had a type 1, and then it came back with another type 1, this one an M formation at the end of London, or at the end of the US session. So very, very unique setup. And once you're comfortable trading, um, the setups themselves, you'll start to see that you'll be able to trade one pair back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So either both London and US sessions, or just be able to trade one right after another, and you won't be scared. Okay. But yeah, that was a nice little setup. Now, one thing I want to mention is if we started the week here, right? You see that for what do we have here? For 2 days we rise, right? Day 1 we rise, day 2 we rise. Day 3 here, we don't do anything, right? We basically go up and down, up and down, up and down, right? So what do we typically see with banks and market makers? What do? They at the beginning of the week they set the trend, they rise for 2.5 days, and then they basically trap traders and then drop, right? So essentially, that's exactly what we ended up getting on this for the remainder of the week. As you can see, here's our Asian session, and we really didn't have any kind of a setup here that we typically look for, either type 1, 2, or 3 on this. So this actual trade we would have not taken because it didn't meet our trade requirements. But the good thing about this move is that it let us know what the next move was going to be. Essentially, we know that we're not buyers anymore. We're going to be sellers, right? Because we had 2 days of rise, another third day of nothing but moving sideways, and then we had the drop finally. Okay, so midweek reversal essentially. Okay, so that sets us up for one more day, which is Friday, and here we go. We see the U.S. The London session here, and then we went ahead and we got our nice little M formation here. Um, right around 7:30 or so in the morning Eastern time. So that was our setup for Friday. Now, one interesting fact, that's this by the way is 185 pips. That's a very nice move. One interesting fact about this though is that we did have one of our traders, and he actually did this. Let me erase this here so I can show you. But he actually went ahead and traded the Type 3 setup here. So he basically did this, and he traded this first. So he traded that first, and he traded it as a Type 3 setup because we're in the middle, essentially the middle of the Asian range, right? So you have one touch to the middle of the Asian range, and then we came back for a second. Now, the way that he explained it to me, as far as why he took it, is he took it early on because of this right here, because of this star pattern here that developed perfectly right next to these two candles in the middle of the Asian range. So he took it all the way from here, and he ended up getting some very nice, pips, about 90 or so pips out of it before trading it back down again and getting the rest of the pips. So this, once you get comfortable, you will start to see the different patterns that we teach. And so that's what's hugely important, is making sure that the patterns are there and you can see them. Because if you can see the patterns, you can trade this all day long. But remember, if the patterns are not there, no matter how good it looks, right? You don't take the trade. Like for example, on this one here, there's no patterns here that we normally trade. So yeah, we missed out on it. So what? Okay, it's not a big deal. We don't have to be on every trade, okay? Because we're not in this to trade 50-50 propositions. We're in it to trade 80 to 90% correct. And you can only be 80 to 90% correct if you're clearly seeing the pattern. If you're not clearly seeing the pattern, you can't trade it. So if you can see it, you can trade it. If you can't trade it, right? So anyway, so that was pound AUD, guys, for last week, and I'll go ahead and put up some other videos as well for other pound pairs. All right, guys, until next time.